Hey guys, if you love QF's content on our free Sundays and Thursday sessions, then please visit our Patreon page in the description and sub to the Black Kluge tier or higher for full access to not only our bonus weekly Tuesday night shows and the alternate Sunday shows you've been missing, but also to the exclusive episodes not available to the lower tiers. It's roughly the price of one coffee a month, and nobody at Starbucks will make you laugh like we do for that kind of scratch. In addition, when you sub to the Black Kluge tier, you'll get 2 weeks advance access to each Thursday session on Patreon before it makes it to YouTube.
I'm going to go to bed with Pamela Anderson, and my mind is going to be blown with him. I mean, you know, we're working on a bit now. I don't want to say what it is. It's going to be really mind-blowing and funny.
60s, 70s was just like a renaissance because all this shit was being invented. Rock and roll was being really, I mean, it was mind-blowing what was going on. And then
Now I'm thinking about it, was Shallow. Somebody ran Shallow through auto-tune.
That was Mark.
And they,
Yeah.
Yeah. And they said they couldn't, on that song, they could not find a bad note. That's kind of mind-blowing. Thinking while you were doing that, you could sing. I remember when you did that performance with Metallica, and people said, oh, Gaga can sing anything. It was mind-blowing. What's it like to tour with guys who you grew up loving, and then all of a sudden you get that acceptance? I mean, it must have been mind-blowing. Do you ever sit there and go, shit, how can I come up with one new song?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's got to be mind-blowing, right? And suddenly you end up singing background on songs like this, The Wall of Sound. That's you back there. How mind-blowing is that? You're talking about Glenn Campbell. You're talking
The Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew, the greatest musicians ever. And they were great because within 3 seconds, they could pick up a song, right?
Right, yeah.
Didn't that blow you away?
Opened the door to your imagination and said you can write about anything.
Blew your mind. It blew your mind. It is very difficult. Even when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk to you about, there is so much that it is mind-blowing. When you were, I don't know, I want to say you were about 11 years old when you went to see this guy in concert.
Yeah.
That blew your mind. It's always like, oh, that movie made $150 million at the box office and blah, 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 blah. But it really, you know, it was a modest success. And it's quite mind-blowing. If you go back and Google any of these appearances, it's mind-blowing.
He loved the song. It's in one of the documentaries on him, and you see him rehearsing it. And
Did that blow your mind? 'Cause going through Bruce's catalog of music, it is fucking mind-blowing. You know, you do not remember.
Welcome, ladies and gents, to QF, a podcast about Howard Stern. I'm your host, Phil Moore, a.k.a. Jim Fix. With me back in the recording session booth is Miss C.A. Thompson. How are you, my dear?
I'm doing well, just shaking off cobwebs and getting ready to go on this one. It should be a good couple episodes.
You wanted dibs on the Jesus Twins' first appearance, which is what we're covering now, obviously, guys. Now, what was the motivate? Why was this essential to be on as opposed to some other clip for the sake of argument?
Well, I've always, to be fair, I actually liked the Jesus Twins.
Mm-hmm.
I liked their personalities. They were quirky. They were fun. They brought in energy. And the music they produced, I know people listening to it now might be like, what the heck is going on with that? But They started off in the early 90s, and their sound was actually fresh and relevant at that time. So, I heard the music. I'm like, another time, another place, these guys would have actually done exceptionally well with their music. They just happened to kind of miss, the cosmos didn't line up for them at that time. And for me, it was, as we followed what happened to them as listeners to the show, it paralleled what happened to Casey and other individuals as well, too, where they're used, abused, chewed up, spit out. And then I'm not going to ruin anything with this, but then we have another visit that happens later on after an incident.
Yeah.
Well, first, and no one calls anyone out. No one steps in and tries to help the brother or anything like that.
No.
And that to me just again revealed so much about the show.
Yes.
So yeah, I've got a soft spot for them.
Just we're going to play a little bit of Feel My Ubiquity, guys. See, this isn't the worst thing I've ever heard, and it's not a major label, it's not some tried and tested act, whatever. And it was, it could have been. There was. I remember back in the early 90s. When was this? Sorry, when was this released? The mid 90s.
So this, I think we're looking at 90. I want to say 96 or 97 ish.
Okay.
For that, but they started like their musical careers basically the early 90s.
That's what I thought. That's because the sound is more along the lines of, Goddess, or I'm trying to think of other bands at the time.
Well, the Verve, like in Canada, we had Age of Electric, Moist, Big House.
Yeah.
All these bands that had really similar, and it had that kind of funky beat and funky sound to it. So they needed to be toned down. They needed not toned down, like controlled, but
it's a bit jangly. I mean, there's a lot of mainstream bands that could have put this out too, as a B side, let's say, or whatever. Like, anyway, it's not the worst thing I've ever heard. And so they, the story I seem to remember was they crashed the Tonight Show, didn't they?
They crashed or
no, they had an appearance on the Tonight Show.
They had an appearance, and I think the manager talks about this. I think with Howard at one point.
So there's a picture of them with Jay Leno. Now I don't know if they performed. This was like on the Man on the Street thing with them, or if they actually appeared. They didn't appear doing a performance. I guess Jay found something amusing about them. But at any rate, we're going to go through their first appearance, guys. And I remember being the first time I heard it, I was sort of annoyed by them. But then later on, I started listening to the clip again. I go, they're giving it back. Like, they're fast.
They are.
They're really, they're witty. They're like what Elliot often could have been like if he knew how to tone down some of his shtick.
Yeah. And the manager to me was always the one that was annoying out of it. I found them quirky. Like, sure, I could see how they could be annoying to people. I found them quirky. And like you said, quick, and they came back at Howard and they didn't take his crap at all.
No, they did not. That's the one thing I absolutely remembered most of all. They were not afraid to be in studio.
No.
There were some guys outside. Robin got confronted by them downstairs, and so did Gary, Baba Fooey. They have a rock band, and they can't understand how I'm not putting their rock band on the soundtrack.
What is your name?
Ganji.
Ganji, let me tell you something. We didn't fly halfway around the freaking world to come to this show and be treated the way we did.
Why? What happened? Why don't you tell me what happened?
Monkey Face almost beat us up in the elevator until my bodyguard stepped in. That is why my personal manager / attorney is considering a lawsuit.
I just want to make it very clear that I'm currently not a member of the bar. My name is Jonathan Mendelson, and I do represent the Jesus Twins. And I want to make it very clear to America that I personally manage the hottest group in America. Maybe not today because they're not well recognized, but I truly believe that this is the group that will lead American culture and music to the 21st century.
They know that your CD for the movie soundtrack is at the factory being pressed.
Yeah.
Hold on. First of all, that manager, you could not get a more like cookie cutter, corporate speak to that tone to that guy's voice. Eric Meadows. Oh my God, he was something else. And he's still alive, as far as I know. People have reached out to him since then.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I never looked up him, and I actually should have looked into him as well, because he's his own character in this whole kind of mess as well too. And I'm sure people can debate, did he hold them back? Did he get them as far as he did? Because he's slimy. He's like a used car salesman. He's anyone who's dealt with music reps and stuff like that. He is that. He's the poster child.
Well, the other one I'm thinking of, that like who else was a manager enough to be their own character on the show? Well, Joey Buttafuoco, that David Creef, when Artie got into it with him, and then also Sean, Beetlejuice's manager.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of characters that came along with the characters sometimes that they ended up being their own personalities as well. So he was definitely one of them.
And they want you. They know that when you hear this song, you're going to tell them to stop the pressing.
Really?
And put this song on it.
You're kidding. No, I'll destroy millions of dollars worth of pressing.
Right.
And here are the Jesus Twins.
Hey, come around this way, guys.
This is the only show you got to get past a stutterer, a monkey, and a gorilla.
They have. Well, you guys understand that a lot of people.
Yo, crackhead, why don't you leave? The interview's over.
Oh my God!
Oh, wait a second. Crackhead. Come on, crackhead.
Get out of here. What do you think, I'm Captain Jenks calling you up, kiss me ass for a phone call? Get out of here.
No, you.
Come on, douche. Come on, douche. With your tongue out.
Yeah.
No, we'll have a fight between Crackhead Bob and Jesus.
Guys, you don't want to get into a fight with Crackhead Bob, trust me.
Likable guys, Howard. No offense, but...
No, you.
Picking up space, man.
Like right away, pissing on everybody, or just about. And that kind of swagger, it can go one of two ways. You could either think these are really obnoxious assholes, which I thought originally, and then later on when I really listened to it, I go, you know what? It takes balls to go in there and act like you own the room.
Yeah, and they told no lies.
No.
Like, everything they said was 100% true.
That's right.
And you had your time. Get off the show.
Well, we want him here, though. We like him.
He's our guest. This is our house.
Yeah, we like Crackhead Bob.
You guys... listen, am I on?
Yeah.
Because I can't hear myself.
That's all right. You haven't said anything.
Guy? Where's the bald guy? I can't hear myself.
Well, let me ask you this. You guys have a band. And as Gary says, I mean, at some point you have to have some sort of recognition factor, or you have to do something to somehow get acclaim. But you guys are already having rock star attitudes, and you haven't done anything yet.
Howard.
What have you done?
Let me tell you.
You take that cigarette and put it out. It's killing me.
Oh. It's killing you?
Yeah, give it to Gary.
It's killing you worse, but you don't want to die.
Yeah.
Whoopi, when I want your comments, I'll ask for them. Now listen.
Whoopi. It only gets better, guys, because I imagine there are some people that don't go, like, even if you do go far enough back, do I presume that everybody has seen every single aspect of the show back in the day? No. And certainly, you know, if you didn't get the show on TV, and if you did, I'd seen the cable show for quite a few years. We had access to it, but I never saw this appearance until way later, like early 2000s, I suppose. And but if people don't know about it because they only started with Sirius or whatever, this is one for the archive that if you don't like our take, go back and listen to it on your own and just get the flow of it. I love that they fucked on Robin too.
Just offhand too, just to dismiss of it.
Yeah.
Listen, Howard, we are here on business.
Yeah.
We came across the country. I didn't come here for monkey face to get in my way.
Right.
I told him I'm going up. He said, guys, the Jesus Twins or nothing. I want my manager in here.
No, they wanted to bring the whole entourage.
The Jesus Twins or nothing. We'll go home.
I said the Jesus Twins will go home.
Right.
They're telling me who's coming in.
I want my manager here, and I want my security.
Have you guys had your band?
Who do you need security from?
I need security. This monkey might attack me again, like he did in the elevator. He almost took. He's holding the doors open. I almost told my security guard to take care of him.
You two guys are the gayest couple I've ever seen.
Okay, all right. Why don't you get?
Wait.
Now, Bowie just hates when people don't kiss his ass. There's more to this than what Bowie's going on about. His whole thing is like that. Okay, I guess his thing, he just hates their attitude. They come off the wrong way, and all of a sudden you're in his shit books.
Yeah, and for a guy whose brother,
died of AIDS, for him to have the most potent insult is to say to them, "You're the gayest guys I've ever." Like what? Yeah, that's not exactly Mr. Lifebeat, is it? Fuck.
Yeah.
I just stare at him trying to get the show for 3 hours.
Let's not talk. Let's listen to your loser music.
Music will wind up on the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys really convinced I will hear this music?
Yes.
And you are really convinced?
Listen, you have if you want me to criticize the album, I'm more than happy to.
All right.
You haven't heard the album.
I don't give a rat's ass. LL Cool J.
Yeah.
He's not a musician. He's a Dickum star. You said it was breaking the rules? Why don't you just get Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on there?
They're right. And so let me just for a moment here, guys. I'm going to go and pull up the Private Parts, the Private Parts soundtrack.
You know, I never once sold a copy of that album.
I believe you. Well, it's a compilation album. I mean, yes, a lot of soundtracks are, but you'd be surprised how many soundtracks sell a lot of copies. Sliver, so the Sliver soundtrack, the Casino soundtrack. I'm trying to think. The what was the one? Pretty in Pink sold shitloads of copies,
and still does
because of what was on it.
Yeah, Never-Ending Story. All these, like because I worked at 3 different record stores in my career, like the same Sam the Record Man, but at 3 different locations. Soundtracks were probably our 3rd best overall seller.
Mm-hmm. I believe so. I would imagine so. I mean, for Christ's sake, it's hold on, let's see. So it obviously includes some spoken word. I love how it's $6.75 on Amazon. It's not worth it.
Are they paying you $6.75?
All of them are Warner Brothers artists because the soundtrack was on Warner's, which is obviously like it's already compromised. You should be able to get anybody you want. If you're Mr. So-and-so, you're Mr. Big Shot, you should get whoever you want. So a lot of them don't make sense. Obviously, The Great American Nightmare, that piece of shit. I Make My Own Rules, Howard Stern, Flea, Dave Navarro, and Chad Smith. So it was like if for fuck's sake. Hard Charger, Porno for Pyros, and which was not really Porno for Pyros. It was, Jane's Addiction reunion before. It was something Perry decided we'll do before they do that reunion tour and try to, get promo out of it. The Suck for Your Solution, Marilyn Manson, who was on his way out at that point already. Like his sort of hype machine was dying. Pictures of Matchstick Men, Ozzy Osbourne with Typo Negative. That sounds like something Howard would think was so fucking cool.
Yep. To him, this is hardcore and badass, right?
Yes. Green Day, Tired of Waiting for You. Pinhead, Ramones. These are all like artists he'd never play on the radio when he had his choice, when he was, like originally starting out. The Smoke on the Water, Deep Purple, I Want You to Want Me, Cheap Trick, Cat Scratch Fever, Ted Nugent, Jamie's Crying, Van Halen, You Shook Me All Night Long, live. The live version from the movie, not the original one. No one wants to hear a live version of that. And the last one, Tortured Man, Dust Brothers, and Howard Stern.
So it's a mix of Howard wannabe cool guy.
Yes.
He thinks these are great songs.
Right.
So some of them make sense in that when he was at different stations, they would have been the hit singles at that time. So some of them speak to where he was in his career when those songs hit, like Cheap Trick, Deep Purple, that the Ramones make sense because he had a history with them.
Well,
so,
but only a history, not that he played the music.
True, but at least he knew them, so it kind of ties into his story a bit. Like, what would have been a better soundtrack is, again, for all the different eras, the hit singles at that time. So it tells this story stacking on top of each song to where he is now.
Yeah,
or
he must
then, not now.
He should have been a hair metal compilation. There should have been Whitesnake, Enough's Enough, who he had on the show many times. Bon Jovi should have been on there. All kinds of people that had anything to do with the show. Ted Nugent definitely should have been on there. He was on there. But again, I think if he could have done it today, he wouldn't have picked Ted Nugent. But there's nothing. It's all a poser choosing the music. And those other songs, I Make My Own Rules, LL Cool J doesn't belong in the film. This is something that would, like the Jesus Twins, they're right. They would have been perfect for something like that, rather than have his own ego. Like they go, no, I'm singing with so and so, and I'm going to be on the album. Put this on there instead.
Yep. Oh, 100%. They're telling no lies.
No.
It would have made the news. It would have been this poppy thing. He could have had another members of his whack pack or however he wanted to work them into it, and they would have fed off of each other.
Yes, and he probably would have got a piece of it.
Yep.
For being like an expediter of this.
LL Cool J's
That's
song.
intellectually stimulating for Howard
LA
Stern.
Cool J's song
Go
is
ahead.
one of the best songs I've ever heard in my
Breaking the
life.
rules. Is that what the
You haven't heard the song yet?
This is Beavis and Butthead soundtrack.
I don't care what. I don't care about the Beavis and.
Oh fuck!
They nailed it.
Yeah.
I forgot that comment. It is. It is
What's
the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack.
It is. And let's go into let's use that as an example. One sec.
That is 100% what it is.
The Do America one. Yeah, there. Okay, hold on. Look.
It is.
Okay, it's not exactly, but Ain't Nobody, LL Cool J. This is on the Beavis and Butthead Do America. Butthole
Chili Peppers,
Surfers.
White Zombie, Ozzy.
Yeah, it's got, AC/DC, White Zombie, Red Hot Chili Peppers. They did Love Roller Coaster. Kevin Lofton did the animation for that. Now, the rest of these, Engelbert Humperdinck, but the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack is slightly more esoteric. A little more esoteric. You'd never have, No Doubt's on there as well, Rancid. I mean, some of these are, but they're very of the moment. But Isaac Hayes, of course, because he was chef on the South Park. That's a little bit of a he was more in the zeitgeist at that point. Ozzy is on there. White Zombie. They're absolutely correct. So he was all about Beavis and Butthead. So that's that. You're right. They fucking nailed him in perfectly.
Yeah.
Jeez.
On the spot.
Christ.
But I am telling you.
Fleabag criticized you. Where are your balls? You're Flea's bitch right now.
Tell you,
right now.
all I can tell you is.
I figured I'd join you in the gangbang.
I heard the song, and no, not your song. I haven't heard it yet. I'm going to listen to your song. You can say what you want about LL Cool J, Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers. The song is good.
You got Chewbacca singing a vocal?
Hold on. This is the other thing. There's the audio of Flea, because they call him out for Flea talking shit about the Sterns, the not really wanting to be part of it.
But out of what Howard put on his soundtrack, did any of those guys talk good about Howard?
Here it is. Okay. he posted this. This is why the Jesus Twins were great. This is Beavis and Butthead soundtrack part 2. It literally was. White Zombie, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Flea. Half the soundtrack features the same artists. One of the twins calls out Howard for being Flea's bitch just prior to the soundtrack being released. This was in reference to an MTV interview that aired the weekend prior. MTV chatted with Flea, who was filming for the Porno for Pyro's Hard Charger music video that featured Howard. They asked Flea why he's doing the video for the soundtrack. And he responded, "I don't care about Howard Stern at all. He means nothing to me. I'm just doing this because I like Perry and Steve and Peter and Dave. I'm in it for the music." Mm-hmm. And then it says, Howard avoided the topic, but it was brought up by the Jesus Twins when they make their Stern Show debut the following Monday. Fleabag has criticized you. Where are your balls? You're Flea's bitch right now. Days later, Flea calls in for one of the most contrived calls in Stern Show history as they talk for literally 2 minutes. To me, it sounds like Howard threw a fit to the people in charge of the movie, and Flea is pressured to call into the show to make sure that this soundtrack is released without a hitch. It certainly came off that way, so we're going to play the audio.
Oh, I wonder.
Hey, you know who's on the line? I hate to interrupt your idiocy, but it's Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I hope you like Star Wars, dude.
Hey, Flea.
Hello?
It's Howard.
Hello, Howard. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm sitting at my kitchen table having a beverage.
Hey, the audience was trying to push me into some sort of fight with Flea, and then I saw what he said about me on MTV. I mean, it wasn't the most complimentary thing, but it wasn't uncomplimentary.
But he didn't dish you either.
No, all you said was
that... Tell you.
Yeah, you said you don't get up early in the morning, so you don't really care about Howard Stern, but you wanted to make the record because you're a friend of Perry Farrell.
Well, actually, see, the thing is, I just felt kind of misunderstood.
Right.
Actually, the main reason I'm calling this morning is because I'm a shameless self-promoted career opportunist.
That's okay, so am I.
Yeah, so I want to do anything I can to make people think I'm smart and handsome and talented. But besides that, the thing is that I just felt misunderstood because it's not that I don't like you, Howard.
I didn't get the impression that you didn't like it.
I don't really take part in the commuter ritual of listening to talk radio.
Right, yeah, that's the impression I got. You know, people tried to...
Oh, fuck off. That is totally contrived. That was because also Howard was what you could tell in his voice, like, hey, Flea, like, this is a calculated call. This is like, it's going to happen. It's going to take this long. We just need you to come on for this long. And it's all business now. I'm not fooling around because I need this message to get out unobstructed by any pretense. Meanwhile, you, if you're listening, you could see, like anybody listening to this, that's the impression I would get.
Yep. It's a full apology. And the tell when you listen back to is when Howard says, oh, so-and-so is on the phone. And Robin says, oh, really? But she says it really high.
Yeah.
She's scripted, right? She's reading off I'm going to put my voice really high and sound really shocked, even though she knew full well that was going to happen. And Flea sounds wasted.
Yes.
In this.
Maybe that's what he had to do to get on the air, or maybe he's that much of a waste case, because he certainly was. And I can't. I've already talked about how fucking much I hate the Chili Peppers and everything about them. But anyway, we'll play the rest of the clip. But it's I love it. Yeah. I love the fact that, and kudos to Cormano for finding this.
And I think you're right too that Howard flipped out and went after Warner. And Red Hot Chili Peppers have been on Warner their whole career, so this was a big deal to have the elites at Warner coming at them. Even though they were established, they were still on shaky ground. And then Californication didn't come out till 1999. So we're in the ballpark of them needing major label support for a new album. So they're going to be on their knees saying, how deep do you want me to go with this?
Well, yeah, because Red Hot Minute didn't sell nearly as much as they thought it would with Dave Navarro in the band. And I didn't, when one of my friends, because I was a huge Jane's Addiction fan back in the day, and one of my friends said, now that Dave's in the band, are you going to start listening to them? I'm like, no. Why? Just because they're getting a really good guitarist, and a guitarist who, in my opinion, should be above that band and should never even 100%. Be in the same room with these assholes. People talk about Flea's musicianship. I don't give a fuck. If Albert King was playing with the fucking Chili Peppers, I wouldn't listen to them, because that fucking asshole, degenerate, like fucking sexual molester, like a hebephile fucking frontman asshole. And then Flea, they're just I hate them. I hate them.
They're the
everything
exact
about
same
them.
Creature, both of them.
Oh yeah,
just violent degeneratives.
Yeah, one can play a good musical instrument, and one's just a complete degenerate. Meanwhile, if you've seen the picture, you've seen pictures of Anthony Kiedis' current girlfriend, and it's Kumia levels of cringe in terms of the age disparity, or what's his name, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, that last interview with his 24-year-old girlfriend controlling everything.
Did you see that? I said, is her sister married to Alec Baldwin?
Yeah, that's exactly the same vibe it gave off. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Belichick looks like he was just rolled.
He's got by werewolves on his way in.
He's got a ripped sweatshirt on. It's got like a tear in it that looks like some cat just took a piece out of it.
Yeah.
Right. They want you fighting with everyone.
Flea is nice enough to be a part of my soundtrack album. I'm real excited about it.
Twice.
Yeah, twice. He's on
Right, because the Red Hot Chili Peppers do a
number with LL Cool J that kicks friggin' ass, that is really good. In fact, I mean, it's a remarkable song, and I can't wait to play it on the air. I'm just waiting until the album's like closer to release date.
Or until K-Rock breaks it.
Yeah, right. And then also there's a Porno for Pyros track, which is the first single. We're doing a video together on MTV. So, I mean, if anything, he's helping me tremendously. And when he was on MTV, he said, I don't really get up in the morning and listen to Howard Stern. I'm not part of the Howard Stern thing, but, I'm doing the song because of Perry. So I think that like some third-hand information got to me, and everyone was trying to push me into like a little war with Flea or something. And I just dig the hell out of the music you put together for us, and I thank you for it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, really, truly remarkable stuff.
That's nice for you to say that.
Yeah. So,
If you wouldn't want to go to war anyway, because I'm too good in war, I'd win.
Oh, no. You've never been in a war with me. You have no idea.
This is a non-event. Let's keep it that way.
You don't want to get in a war with me.
I don't know, I'm an evil battler.
Yeah, but I've wrecked people's lives.
You don't know. Yeah, you have no idea.
Imagine walking everywhere you walk and people just yelling at you.
I know, but I'm a psychotic, psychopathic, unpredictable maniac.
You'll get sane real quick.
I liked when you were I like when you perform in your underwear.
No kidding.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
If you throw a rock in the archives, you'll find some gay shit coming out of Howard's mouth.
I think any guy who performs in his underpants is okay.
Does that get you excited, Howard?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
No, I just like the idea of like you know how rock and roll has become very contrived and everyone has to have a special outfit.
And everybody has to look a certain way,
Yeah, the first time I saw you in your underpants, I went, man, that guy just doesn't care, which is cool. I like that. I like
a normal person looks at those guys wearing socks on their fucking cocks and says, like, if you're a 13-year-old, I think you think, what the fuck is this? And that's exactly what I thought when I saw that Abbey Road EP poster, which was sold in every head shop and every fucking record store. I imagine the alternative stores, especially. Obviously, you couldn't go to Sam and find that album cover out there.
No. We weren't the poster seller guys.
Yeah.
I like you being in your underpants. I don't know. It just appeals to me.
It's a good.
See, he can't get off that.
He's gonna keep going. He's gonna ask for them to be mailed to him so he can sniff them before he falls asleep.
Oh yeah.
But meanwhile, this track is real good, and there's no hard feelings here. The fact that you don't get up and listen to me, I can live with that.
Yeah, I just don't listen to talk radio.
Right, I hear you.
I pick my nose, I stare into space.
Yeah, I got you. So I'm glad we're doing this together, and I actually thank you very much from the bottom of my heart that you're doing some music in the movie, because I think the music's phenomenal.
Well, you're welcome, and I always love doing music for anybody.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, Flea.
Yeah.
Take care, man. Bye.
Okay. Yeah. Carmano's 100%. There's no way that wasn't done completely. Yeah.
When Flea hung up, he was doing the double fingers in the air.
Oh yeah, without question. And then for those of you who want to hear that awful sound, hold on, let me just see if I can get it here. Hard Charger. It sounds like a complete throwaway, and to be honest, most of their music I never liked. But it sounds like something like a B-side that they didn't. Perry's a very he's a very controlling person. There's no way he would give Howard any kind of credit for that and be on there unless he thought it was beneficial to him, and he certainly wouldn't give him anything he thought that was good, because you want to be remembered for it on your own album, not a soundtrack.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm going through the soundtrack. So they're saying it sold like 1 million copies in the US.
Right.
Again, I never sold one copy, and I'm not joking about that at all. Not one copy. And looking through the list here, Rick Rubin, who also was buddies with Wiggy for a bit, and they still kind of are, is the producer of a lot of the songs that ended up on it.
Yes. And there was a connection there through Rick, obviously, but I'm sure what's more telling is the bands he couldn't get on the soundtrack, I think, and that that he was looking desperately for other artists, but again, it had to be Warner's, and I'm sure this was this is the movie company insisting on this shit when that happens, and Warner's saying, look, if we're releasing this album, we're not promoting other fucking artists.
Yeah, we're not promoting other artists. We're not putting a lot of money into this. And it looks like Rick Rubin did just ego pieces, basically.
Yes. Yeah.
Because Rubin was still just kind of getting his footing at that point.
Well, yeah. The Johnny Cash sort of reinvention had started happening around, I guess, 94. 94, the first, I think that was the first American Recordings album with Johnny Cash, and that kind of put him back into the zeitgeist a little bit. And then he had, I think it was Tom Petty's band backing up Cash for the second album. That was, American Recordings, and then that one called Cash. And then, before he passed away, he'd covered, 9 Inch Nails' Hurt. He covered Personal Jesus by Depeche Mode, which is actually a really good cover. That's one I think that he really nailed. They don't all work, but anyway.
Hey guys,
who's Chewbacca?
Hey Jesus,
who are you calling Chewbacca?
White Zombie.
Rob Zombie, the guy's a genius.
He sucks. They're not musicians.
Oh, for God's sake.
Green Day appeals
You are a musician.
Wait a minute. You haven't sold a record yet.
I am the innovator of music. Listen to me. Shut up. Ozzy Osbourne should have been superannuated years ago.
All right,
The
listen.
guy's like 75.
Yeah.
He's an impresario. He's not a musician. He hasn't played a gig in years.
He's no good either.
They all suck.
They all suck. Okay.
You are the only guys who are
Wait a
good.
second.
All right, here's your song. Let's hear your
Your
song.
audience made us to 18 to 50, and you have Green Day appeals to New Kids on the Block crowd.
Well, listen, Green Day.
They suck in the times over. All these bands, Bush was in the studio. They suck.
You're saying.
I love these guys now.
Again, what lies? There's no.
It's it really and I think it's more telling because Howard would have had some. I think he would have insisted on some say in terms of what to put on the soundtrack. Like if he had a choice amongst the artists, and him choosing Green Day is about as poserish as you could fucking get at that time.
Yeah. Even now, like, apologies to anybody who's a fan of Green Day, and they have their moments, right? If you're at an event and it comes on, people kind of dance and it's fun,
right?
But am I going to sit down and listen to an album by them? No,
never. No.
They were posers. They were backyard Kager band, basically, is how I think of them.
As pop punk Dickies ripoffs. I mean, it's certain bands that like when Garbage made it big, right? Remember, Garbage was selling like crazy, and nothing against Garbage; they were fine, but they ripped off Curve, the formula for Curve, and Curve never sold. They didn't sell dick, and now you can get their stuff on Bandcamp or whatever it is, because I don't think they've deleted it from any catalogs, but they're not printing it. If you listen to Curve, you go, Evanescence doesn't have a right to exist. This band was phenomenal. I've used them for the odd end song from some of the podcasts. So either way, when bands become derivative, and when they are derivative, heavily derivative, I always look. I don't take them seriously. If a band is got their influences and then they somehow uniquely make it their own somehow, it's possible, like Rival Sons. I know people talk about Greta Van Fleet, how they're Zeppelin ripoffs. They kind of are, but I understand why people would want them, because you're maybe sick of listening to Zeppelin. And
I always think too, so in Canada, the band The Tea Party, 3 people in the band, like Rush, really rich, deep sound for only 3 people. And I remember when they first came out, people would be like, oh, they sound like The Doors and they sound like Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Okay, so they've got a blend of 2 influences. They sound like their own sound at that point.
Sure. Like Soundgarden,
right?
earlier Soundgarden was more like Sabbath than when they became a little more, I'm going to say, mainstream.
Louder Than Love was hard.
That was my favorite of theirs, and I was my preferred sound for them. That one, the Flower EP, was great. And the later stuff is good too, but then they become more, I don't know, palatable.
Yeah, palatable, and that was a lot of the label push at that time, and them kind of buying into. Also, the scene was imploding on itself in Seattle, right? So they lost their home base.
Yep.
And really kind of had nowhere to go, so they just kind of rode the wave. Yeah.
Yep.
Everyone sucks. I don't mind that you say everyone sucks.
Why is it you guys have not been discovered?
We are discovered.
By who?
Right now.
Oh, there was Howard. They were throwing around
right
a big name. The manager was telling me that the guy that manages Janet Jackson is in charge of them, and he made a call to your label.
You're a dick. That was an act to get in, you retard. Get him out of here. He's so dumb.
Howard, you have to see the video. If you don't think they look gay now, you should see these 2 homos running around in cornrows.
This dick doesn't know what. No, listen.
Are you guys wearing cornrows in your video?
Homo.
Right last time he called in.
Christ almighty. Gary throwing that word around quite a bit now.
He called you in. He played cuckoo music, right?
Right.
Yeah, I got security. He's paid an extra $50.
We have talked to these people before?
Yeah.
Fred,
these are the guys. These are the guys who got on the Tonight Show. Remember, they called us. They got on the Tonight Show.
Those guys.
Tell that story again. What happened? You got on the.
I told it enough.
How did you get on the Tonight Show? Just do it quick.
Leno gave it.
Would you shut up? Jay was at a Kingo. He's so annoying. Would you get why? I'm not like this. Is not shtick.
Gary, move back.
Get him out of here.
So why does Gary need to be in there?
That's a good question. Why does he need to be in there?
Yeah, He's, these guys are and here's where Howard's failure to actually be a good radio guy is showing. He can tell that these guys on their own, you could hand them a mic and go have a nice 3-hour lunch and come back, and it would still be a good entertaining show just with them chattering.
Yeah.
But yet he's got this dead wall of Gary there,
yes.
who's intimidating these guys and trying to rein in the actual fun that they're bringing to the show.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's because, first of all, he feels insulted by them, and I guess he should be. But he's trying to pull his buoy magic to as you said, intimidate them, make them feel that they're not wanted, try to fuck them up somehow. But it seems like it's petty more than anything.
It's petty, and that was a threatening move. So the one brother, I don't know which one is which in this.
Yeah.
He's sitting down, Gary's looming over him, then he moves forward and like shoves his chest in his face.
Getting his space, yeah.
Yeah, that to me is a threatening, intimidating. I mean, it's Gary, but that's not a pleasant move to make on anybody.
And really, like, if you don't like them, it's one thing to go in and say these are a bunch of assholes and then walk out. I think it's more effective. It's a good luck with these shitheads.
Yeah. Like, wake me up when they're gone.
And dismiss them. But what are you going to do hanging around? He looks like they're the organ grinder and he's there.
He's bad breath. Now listen.
Your bad hair.
Right. Now. You done?
Crackhead Bob laughs at you.
Bob, you like these guys?
No. Garbage.
Shut up, retard. Let's get...
No, you...
They meant to say conqueror.
I have no time for your game.
Bob, easy.
I'm getting out of here.
Bob, easy.
I got security paid. You want to kick your ass?
All right, Bob, easy.
The old Bob showing his face.
Yeah, right.
What, do they have rich parents or something?
Shut up. Listen. Listen. Are you kidding? Listen. Robin gave us the whole. This is Gary. I get tons of CDs. Your CDs are going in the trash. I said, let Howard Stern hear the CD. He goes, I threw them out, guys. This is from the hotel.
Right.
I said, listen, douchebag, I'm getting on the air. And he's like,
well, I'll tell you something. I am always open to listening to new music.
Lyrically, it fits the song. I don't see any other songs besides.
Now, you wrote this specifically for the movie?
Specifically for the movie. Each line by line. It's called.
Now, how come I haven't heard of you guys before? I mean,
the only time we heard of you was when you crashed
ago.
No,
but we're only 20.
You're on the
He discovered the cult like 10 years after their major peaking. So,
Well, this is a funny thing. Like, but you know what? The cult. Okay, we'll talk about that briefly because they were supposed to come in. We thought they were going to come in for an interview, and CA and I were going to cover that. She said, "I said you got dibs on this, absolutely." I didn't even have to ask her. I just said, "You're doing this with me." And when we found out it was just a musical performance. And there's no Howard interaction. They still made a comment as if to say, like, thanks for discovering us 20 years after the fact, Howard, something like that.
Billy Duffy made a joke about that. And here's the interesting, and I'll tie this kind of all together here. So the reason I brought up Rick Rubin is he's really entangled with a lot of the bands that have been in Howard's universe. He's entangled with a lot of bands in general, but he's really entangled with his universe and with Rob Zombie and all these other bands and stuff like that. Now, Rick Rubin produced the Electric album, which a lot of people love as their favorite cult album. I don't like it. I'm a love person. But I'm
a Sonic Temple person. So, but I like both of those albums that you mentioned as well. But not the one that hit me was the very cock rocky for the Bob Rock production, I guess. So anyway,
and they were the two big kind of producers at that time, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But Rick Rubin is tied to so many. He's tied to GNR. He's tied to Danzig. He's tied to all these people where he's producing them. Like even Glenn Danzig picking him as this producer. Yeah. So out of everyone in this universe that Howard could have picked for the soundtrack and should have known, right? Because Rob Zombie knows these bands. Howard supposedly hanging out with him, all this. And then his musical tastes suck. Like, again, it just shows how he puts effort into not being dialed in and not, when he says things like, "Oh, I love listening to new music."
Yes.
No.
I'm just gonna go through this real quick. Okay, this was Rick Rubin's production credits just from the '80s. Okay, forget everything else. This is before he went with, believe it or not, Neil Diamond and Johnny Cash, and he produced shitloads, and Dice. Howard loved Dice. Dice was in studio so many times. Rick produced his first 5 albums.
Yeah.
So okay. The Pricks, Hose, T La Rock and Jazzy J, LL Cool J, Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Jazzy J again, LL Cool J, Run DMC, Slayer, Rain and Blood, which was a big album, the Beastie Boys, License to Ill. Then you keep going. Yo Bum Rush, The Show, the first Public Enemy album. Second one, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. He was an exec. LL Cool J, Jack the Ripper, the song. The Less Than Zero soundtrack. I mentioned that one before. The Electric, Danzig, Run DMC, Tougher Than Leather, Slayer, South of Heaven, Masters of Reality, Walking with a Panther, that's LL Cool J. In the 90s, this is where it starts getting even more, all over the place. Danzig 2, Slayer, Season in the Abyss, The Ghetto Boys, first album supervisor. Blood Sugar, Sex Magic, Trouble, The Four Horsemen, Slayer, Decade of Aggression, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Mac Daddy. He was, Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill, that's my favorite Danzig album.
That's an awesome album.
Yeah. But he also unfortunately did Mick Jagger's Wandering Spirit. They can't all be winners. He did Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Digital Orgasm, Johnny Cash, Sir Mix-a-Lot again, Slayer, a lot of Slayer stuff. The same names keep coming back. Nine Inch Nails, Further Down the Spiral, One Hot Minute, AC/DC, Ball Breaker. So he's starting to mix it. This is 96. LL Cool J's in there. So I think he was responsible for hooking Howard up with some of these artists. I think he might have been a bit of a go-between.
Yeah, 100%. And so you mentioned the Four Horsemen. And I'm going to pull a Gary and tell a quick little story about the Four Horsemen.
Sure.
So the Four Horsemen end up meeting them, I think, I want to say it was 96 or 97, thereabouts. Their drummer, Ken Dimwit Montgomery, his brother is Chuck Biscuits, the drummer for Danzig.
And DOA at some point.
Yeah, and then DOA. Like, we're talking big bands and Suicidal Tendencies. Like, all these people are tied together. So talking with Ken, and he's we were talking about Rick Rubin, and he's like, the guy's a tool. He's like, he's just the biggest. He called him a loser, I think is the wording he used. He called him a poser. He said Rick used to be made fun of a lot in the music industry because when he was younger, he'd get pulled up to gigs in a limo.
Yes.
And he'd get out and he'd go up on stage and he'd thrash out with his guitar or whatever and jump up and down. And then the limo would pull up again and he'd get back into the limo and drive away. And he's like, here's this guy pretending to be punk, but he's living everything except for the life that people. So, while he produced a lot of good bands and stuff, and he does have an ear, I don't like him, but I do respect his ability to get something out of people. But even then, there's still that level of, we don't like him. Like, we like the end result. We don't necessarily like him.
Well, there's all kinds of producers that they are very much who they are, and he like, no one's going to begrudge him the success he has and have the ability to own a limo or But yeah, you can't be punk rock when you got a limo pulling yourself up to a gig. You just can't. And there's an ethos that goes along with it, and it's a bad look. The idea that that's a great story. Pulling up to a limo and then driving away with a limo. I suppose it depends who you are. Like, could some people pull that off? Maybe, but I think most people would. If you're having some punk sensibility, that doesn't jibe well.
No, like around the corner at the very least, but he was so dialed out that it didn't even make sense. But also, this is Rubin Haggis, who people might know as Kid Chaos, who was with Zodiac Mind Warp before. He joins the Cult for the Electric Tour.
Yes.
He pulled Haggis and puts him into the Four Horsemen.
Okay.
So this is how masterful he is at, he knows all the people he's encountered over time, and he puts them together in this amazing sort of way. And you can't take that away from him. Like, that's impressive work.
He also did Sabbath's reunion album. It's called 13, I believe, and I listened to it. I didn't think anything of it. I love Tony Iommi, but you're not going to catch water. You're not going to catch lightning in a bottle another time later on, because Ozzy can't sing anymore. He stopped being able to sing a long time ago, and he was a thing of the studio. But Tony's riffs are like his ability never diminished. When we saw them live, he was just. Not that he's playing anything super complicated, but the sound, the tone, like it just blows you. It just blows your head back, and you think these are riffs from fucking, like 50 years ago, and they still hit. Yeah, that's
Brian May. There's that sound when you hear it, you just know it hits right in the marrow of your bones. You're
big time. Yep.
Show because you crashed the Leno show.
23 years
oh, you
old.
did. You're 23 years old and you're musicians.
Right.
And what do you play?
We both sing.
You both sing.
Yeah.
And dance.
And we write the songs.
Okay.
No instruments? You guys are playing instruments? No, I'm just asking.
What are you, Kurt Loder? Get out of here.
Posers! Yeah, big poser.
Who is that in the back? Jackie, don't you realize that you're in the back so you're not on the show?
Easy.
Interesting.
Again, no lie.
No lies. No, very astute.
Easy.
These two douches don't realize that the studio changed, so they can't be seen on the East Coast. And they think they're still part of the show. Fred, why don't you play some wedding music? We'll all get aroused thinking of your wife.
These guys were nailing every single person, every salient point. They're hitting this, like, with the idea that the layout of the studio is such that, I mean, this is pre, widescreen television and stuff, but they're absolutely bang on. You isolate these guys, you have them in darkness. Look, like Jackie and Fred look like, have you ever seen sometimes the color commentary for sports? They if you see the desk, sometimes they have a whole studio to themselves, so it's a background, desk, chairs, that's it. But other times you see them, they're in some section of a compound where there are other people at computers and cubicles writing, and one of my favorites, it looks so like ghetto. There's during Euro 2016 when the European Championships, Steve McLaren was the old manager for England. He was responsible for getting them to crash out of qualification for Euro 2008. So he was pretty infamous. He got fired right afterwards. And then, but England were playing Iceland, and they kind of just disregarded, it's Iceland, it's a small country. There's no way we're not going to win this. And while he was talking about they have nothing to fear, Iceland scored a goal. And the reaction on his face is something that belongs in that Reddit thread I think I showed you. Show us videos of people as their souls are leaving them. and this is the thing. Let me show it to you. It's a great video. So this is anyway. Let me see if I could find Steve. All right. So you see all the people in the back.
Yeah. That's Fred.
It's ghetto.
Perfect response. You'd think that no problem. Start again. Keep dominating. Keep getting pressure on the Iceland back four. The only thing that they have got is the big boy up front, Sigurdsson, who really, Sigthorsson.
Oh, my word.
Oh.
Talk us through that, Steve. I think we know what's happened, but talk us through it.
Oh, just saying. Sigthorsson is the only real threat. Every time they're winning the ball, they're playing the ball into him and he's causing problems. Smalling, is not dealing with him very well. Again, a little loose ball from nothing, absolutely nothing. Smalling tries to challenge Sigthorsson.
You see these guys looking over there because they're looking over at him.
They're making sure there's no sharp objects around him. Do we have any evidence that the Jesus twins aren't time travelers?
Because
what are at the time, I guess people found them annoying because they're revealing things about the show that people weren't wanting to see or wanting to hear. It's like they're telling, in 20 years, you guys will be making podcasts about all this stuff that we're saying right now we're seeing it. Why can't anybody else see how contrived this is and how fake and phony and
Yeah. I can kick both your asses.
That's it.
That's it.
You couldn't even stand up to the guy who's kissing your wife.
Oh, really?
Right in the studio. You're a pussy.
Yeah, that's right. That's why your music won't be on the soundtrack, because you're so brilliant.
That's Howard's decision.
But you guys realize
Howard,
the
is that your
soundtrack.
decision?
No,
Howard,
listen to me.
decision. Listen.
The soundtrack has already been.
Poor Fred. He's already getting it. He's already on the ropes.
that was like, that's a raw wound still to this day. I'm sure if someone brought it up, he'd still go off like this. But, you know, these guys are dialed in. They're listening to the show. They're calling them out on everything that we're finally calling them out on.
Yep.
How impressive.
Like, and this was in 1997 as opposed to 2025. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Press.
You don't understand that the
Could we just
soundtrack
hear
you
that
have right
music?
now. You might as well put out Fart.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic.
It's not fantastic.
Can we hear their
All right,
music?
let's
this
hear your
round
music.
making music.
All right, I'll tell you what.
listen to the
Let me
song.
take a break. Just calm down.
I have to
You
leave.
want to spend time?
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
All right, you know what? I don't want to spend time with them. I'll play the song right now. Okay, here we go.
The music's got to be a relief from them.
All right. I got to hear this. Wait, tape 2 or 1?
Tape 2.
Okay. Let's hear what you
Don't
got.
cut it off in the middle. I don't hear dumb. I don't need your comments in the. I don't need your voice.
No. Don't worry, hey, guys.
Don't tell me how to do the show.
like
Don't tell me how to do the show.
Howard, don't worry. The music stands on its own.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. It's as funny as they are.
Really? It's that bad?
He's so stupid.
It's
He doesn't know it. Out of here.
It's frighteningly mediocre.
Really?
Because Bowie knows music, right? Like,
Yeah.
Bowie at this point is still, you know, hawking his Steely Dan albums. Which, by the way, they had a wrap-up segment where they said Jason came in and said, "Nobody I know under the age of 30 knows who the fuck Steely Dan is," and you know, there's like, you may know this song, you may know that one, but when they started playing it, Art, he goes, "You know what? It's so hard to defend them when you start playing their music." And he loved them. He absolutely loved Steely Dan. But I appreciate them to a certain extent. But there's no you're never going to convince someone that Steely Dan is cool.
No.
He's so mad that we got past his dumb.
No, who got
ass.
you? I got you in, you idiot.
Yeah, you got me, and he was like, he's like, "Come on in, guys!" Like, and he hung up the phone. I didn't even know if he was setting up for the police to show up and arrest us, because we called at least 100 times. Our manager.
All right, let's see. Let me see what's going on. Let me see if your music is, as Baba Booey says, frighteningly mediocre.
Frighteningly original and innovative.
All right.
You never heard anything like this
shut
before.
up, Lost.
Yeah, shut up.
Get him out of here. Do I need him here criticizing my music? Get him out of here. We got him here. Get him back when the song's on.
Hey, Jesus, I'm every man. I'm the guy you're trying to
You're
offend.
everything.
I'm in your demo.
I don't need you anymore.
Demo?
Yeah. Well, what demo, first of all? Second of all, you're every man? Really?
He's every man, and he thinks he's the demographic for these guys that are 23 years old.
He's not every man. He's early man.
Yes.
Oh man.
I don't need you anymore. I'm talking Howard Stern.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't need you.
Yeah.
You were my bitch for a few hours, and now you're gone. I got past you.
Yeah. All right, let's see. What's the matter, Crackhead?
I'm going to relax.
Oh, boy.
You're going to relax. All right. Well, maybe Crackhead will like
You
it.
might like this music.
You don't already like it.
No.
You can't understand. He's retarded.
Yeah.
What?
You won't understand. You won't understand. Take it easy. You won't understand the lyrics. You won't understand the lyrics.
I will.
Fred, Jackie, and Baba Booey won't understand it. The only people who understand it is Howard
Crackhead,
and
will you
Robin.
understand the music?
Yeah, I will.
You will.
I will.
I will. All right, here we go. All right, let's listen to it. Everyone
Go
calm
ahead.
down, all right? You're coming in here hostile. All right,
I
here
had
we
to deal
go.
with Monkey Face.
What?
I had to deal with Monkey Face for 3 hours.
I was
trying
sitting
to
in the
strangle
car.
me in the elevator. In such a magnanimous mood, I'd need Gary right in the balls in the elevator.
They really are the world's biggest jerks. They think they're stars. They're frightening. They're throwing around names that, you know, they're just throwing around names and everything. They're just jerks.
Remind me how you got
Okay.
So they're taking away the one thing Gary can do.
Yep.
Throw around music and names.
Yep. And Gary's just pissed off that they're not kissing his ass. Like they go in, they're not humble in the slightest, and he hates the attitude. However, I've often found that, you know, like the people, it's the people that have the sort of hubris but that can back it up. Like I'll think of Roger Federer. When he started playing tennis, he was an asshole. Like he really was a moody fucker, and he was really just snarky and sarcastic. But then later on, he grew up. and he started becoming really more mature. Then I started to like him because he changed. He changed his personality.
Mhm.
But I think that cockiness is kind of what you need sometimes to get your foot through the door, initially at least.
Yeah, to get your foot through the door. And so I'm curious, like if they hadn't been on the Tonight Show before this, I don't think Howard would have brought them on. I think he's doing this to piss Jay off because he's given him a good chunk of time here.
Maybe.
And it's kind of like, hey, Jay, you take my skit. I'm going to take these guys and make them bigger in a way. It didn't work.
Didn't work out, obviously.
Yeah. But, I think that's part of the play. Now, the only thing they're really shooting themselves in the foot with is this last bit before the music is played. They go hard and they go personal. And so their music, even if it was the best song in the world, these guys are already set on we're going to slag it.
Yep. And the other thing is, of course, you can go too far. You can be too abrasive and too obnoxious and whatever. It only works right if they are a massive sensation to begin with, and then you can sort of that it gets excused for a while. Meanwhile, guys, we even Mrs. Fillmore and I are just like overdosing on Katy Perry Mexico City concert footage. I think Kayla and I will be covering some of it the next time we record because it's so excruciatingly bad. And the comments in the comments section, people are having a field day and they hate her, and they're justified to hate her. The more I've read about Katy Perry, the more I realize she's an asshole, a massive asshole.
But she's always been, and her dancing has always been goofy. It hasn't been good. Her songs are mediocre at best.
At best.
She's a dimwit. And her look is so overdone, right? The actual her, you would pass her on the street and you wouldn't look twice at her.
No,
so when we see her up on stage, she's overmade and overproduced and overdressed to take away from the fact she doesn't have skills at all.
You can also tell she's had surgeries to get rid of certain things because she has no stamina. Between songs, she's huffing and puffing. I don't care what you say about Taylor Swift or whoever else, like Shakira or this girl Anita, she's this woman from Brazil, got this massive booty, and she does this move where she just like shakes it. She massively twerks on stage, and if you've heard her in an interview, that's Anita with 2 T's. She's very well spoken, and she comes off really well and really humble. And Katy Perry, on the other hand, she's doing all this to become whoever she thinks is going to make her successful. But people have pointed out that in her stage show, she's ripped off elements from every big person out there. So she's ripped off Olivia Rodrigo, she's ripped off of Beyonce, she's ripped off Taylor Swift, she's ripped off just about everybody you can think of in her stage show. Like there's nothing original about it. It's incredible.
No, it's been done a million times, and it's been done better a million times. And if you think about Britney Spears, I mean, you can like her or not like her, whatever.
Right.
But man, she can dance, she can sing, she can move around. Miley Cyrus, same thing. You don't have to actually like them, but you got to respect the game and what they're bringing to the stage.
Yeah, and Katie unfortunately doesn't have any of that. She's really thirsty, and she's trying to fight time the wrong way. And it's just it's a joy to watch the ridicule going on in real time.
Yeah, she's the wiggy of the music world. No,
absolutely.
Same way we are on here. What do you mean? We were singing.
Yeah.
And they did a videotape of us singing. Pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Before the show. So we get to the show, and Jay's like stroking us, patronizing us, just saying like, they brought us into the sound room and like they're
treating you lousy.
Right.
Yeah. So Jay, these guys are irritated by everything. So then Jay, somehow during the taping of the show, you ran up on stage during the taping.
Let me help you out, Howard.
Go ahead.
No, let me just very quickly. So they didn't end up being on the show.
I remember they told the story.
Bowie's trying to clarify the situation.
For no point, no reason. No. Like, just let them tell the story and get out of there.
He thinks, like, Howard will tell Gary when he's had enough of a fucking guest. He knows the tells. There's no need to go in and, like, help him push them along because he knows Howard's getting annoyed or whatever. No, Howard's fine. He'd rather they were controversial on the show and they got ratings as a result than if you had Bowie streamlining something and shoehorning them out of there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No.
Badly the last time.
They didn't end up being on the show, so Jay was kind
It was
enough
on the show.
to give them. They took their tape and put them on the show, but not them live. So Jay was kind enough to give them tickets to sit in the audience,
Right.
the balcony.
Right.
Now, say
He
what
put
happened.
us in the balcony because I said before the taping, I said, hey, Jay, we're going to go on the stage and do a little singing with the band. And he's like, well, maybe next time, guys. Maybe next time. I'm like, maybe this time.
Yeah.
And he's like, get these guys seats in the balconies.
Yeah.
And I go, and we're thinking, how are we going to jump on stage from the balcony? there was two old grandmas sitting in front of us.
But you ended up on stage, didn't you? You ran down and you ran up on stage, and Jay had you thrown out of the building.
And Jay, turned his back to the audience.
Right.
And,
all right. Here we go.
And they edited you out, right?
Yeah, that wasn't... Yeah, he's like, they're banned from the lot. I'm Helen Kushner, and we're never allowed back.
Wait a minute, after you leave here, it's the same here. You're banned from here.
Right, we'll be on the soundtrack.
No, they were not, Bowie.
No, they weren't, Bowie.
No.
Hope.
All right, let's hear your music. Everyone calm down. Let's see. What is the name of the song, by the way?
Feel My Ubiquity.
Feel My Ubiquity. All right, here we go.
Speaking to the people.
Here we go.
Shut up, Jack. Shut up, Dick.
Love boat.
Shut up. Sorry.
We won't hear your song if you use that language.
Here comes the lyrics. Quiet!
Where the pigeons don't know my name. The engine is burning, chilling in the streets. The best gets out and bones. The aggregate's so complete.
I could see this going into a slotting into a fucking movie. I could see this being picked for some indie film, something. It has a place somewhere.
It's it's New York, and so Howard's movie kind of caps with this New York experience, and that had the New York feel and vibe, and it would have fit in easily.
Right. He brought out Soul Coughing one time, and they did. There were John Hine and Gary early on in the series did a thing, a collection of music on the Stern Show, and they had different acts. Like over the years, like Stevie Wonder was in there, and Lenny Kravitz did the most amazing live version of "Let Love Rule" that I've heard to date, which he kind of still does, but it's never been sounded better than it did on the Stern Show when he was there for, I think, a birthday show. And I'm not even a big Lenny Kravitz fan, but I really enjoyed that version. It's way better than the studio version, and they did a really good job. And Howard, Soul Coughing, Super Bon Bon, these are songs that were really like, he thought he could break some of these bands, and he might have. He might have been that if he could, keep his nose to the grindstone and actually look actively for bands instead of making everything about himself. So these guys would be right in tune, as we talked about this before. What if he had a piece of them? What if they broke big? He'd be getting more money, and that's all his mandate is, marbles, isn't it?
Yep, marbles and people
notoriety,
listening, and then eventually getting subscriptions when they switch over to Sirius.
Sure.
And, when you think about his ties to music and the radio and all this kind of stuff, the fact that they didn't have a Howard Stern festival of music every year, every 2 years or whatever, it's actually really surprising. Because that to me would have been an easy go-to. And you break these local bands and you give them the presence, and again, you just create energy around what it is that he claims to be, but he's not.
No, he isn't, and that's the funny part. Like, he thinks he's Star Search. When the big pitch when he was going to do AGT was, I've been judging bands for all my life. What? What?
Yeah.
Like, dude, unless some band has been road tested, now he'll never have them on. And even then, how long did it take for him to get certain artists into the compound there? Like, and forget just music, comedy. Bill Burr was in the studio once in early 2000s, and then not again until 15 years later.
Yeah.
During the time when he was at O&A exclusively, I doubt they didn't ask him. I'm certain they asked at one point, especially after the Marcy Turk era, and he probably said no, until he finally said yes, and since hasn't been back. Isn't that more telling? That, 8 years later, he hasn't been back for a repeat visit?
Yeah. And why? Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't he? It doesn't make sense unless.
Yeah, right. So...
Sit him down. We need their bodyguards to protect us from them.
All right, can I comment now?
No.
Can I say something?
Douchebag, you think I'm Melrose Larry Green? I'll kick your ass.
Wait, easy. Sit down. Guys, relax. Here's our security. Guys, sit down and relax.
We got a bunch of people who want to fight in here.
Crackhead Bob was grabbing. Sit down. You guys got to learn how to. You can't get up and start attacking people.
And screwed up.
What happened? You got upset because Fred played the vomit sound effect?
Jackie thinks he can throw.
And see, look at Gary again. So his body language, his positioning, he's there to be the big bully, threatening guy.
And security, and all in one.
And you can see, like, if these guys wanted to do something, they would have, right? They're doing it to create chatter. They're not there to hurt anybody.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Bowie thinks he needs to be there to protect people. I'm not sure. An extra body in case things go wrong. Or he wants to see the train wreck, which I believe he should be able to see. Actually, no. At this point, he can't see. I don't think they're getting video feed in the back offices. If he's not in there, he's not seeing what's going on. So what it is he wants to see this for what it is in real time.
Yeah.
But you know what? One of them, I can't remember which of the twins, died suicide by death by cop. Essentially,
Death by cop. Yeah.
He had a shotgun, and I think it was in L.A. And the cops told him to put it down. Of course, they killed him. And so it occurs to me, and then that one I think I had a mental disorder, like what do you call it?
He was bipolar.
Bipolar.
It goes by a different name now, but he was, and he was off his medication, which is quite common, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah, and so on the one hand, Bowie wouldn't have known it now, but it wouldn't surprise me if one or the other could have done something in studio that could have gone a lot worse. Not that they had guns on them or anything, but they might have attacked Fred if they felt the need to, because who knows how unstable any guest is. But still, Gary's not your security. He's a producer. Why isn't Ronnie in there if there's a need? Like, why wouldn't he tell Ronnie, look, come on up. We got this. We're not sure about these guys.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know, it's ridiculous. And, in listening to the song too, how cool would the movie have been if it would have ended credits rolling with this song going and Howard walking down a New York street?
Yes.
Every now and then it just shows him walking while the credits are going down one side and the music, because they're talking about pigeons and Washington Post, all things that are part of the show and part of New York, and it just creates this atmosphere.
Well, that would have been a better thing than what they ended up doing, which was really stupid. But the other thing is the movie's it wasn't a big hit anyway, so it wouldn't have, I don't think it would have helped the Jesus Twins that much. No. But it certainly would have been a better idea and would have been something that they tried to do with AGT's farewell video that they put together for Howard, which was embarrassingly bad. Howard, no, some people are afraid to eat these hot dogs, but not me. Excuse me? Mr. Germphobic.
Yeah, plain chicken
pasta
breast
on the side, half the pasta in the trash.
Yeah, orders it, throws it away, half sauce on it. Baked potato has to be a certain temperature.
Yeah.
And his water, again, it can't be... And his water couldn't be boiled in a kettle, wasn't it? It had to be in a microwave for a certain amount of time.
Yes. Everything was just so, fucking hell.
No paper me up. This isn't Melrose Larry Green, you douchebag. I'll come over there and break your nose.
Yeah. Right.
Oh, dear.
All right. Easy.
He has time.
Easy. All I know is Crackhead Bob took his one bad hand and was holding everybody. Yeah, sit down, boys. Sit down.
Come on.
Crackhead, sit there, sit quiet.
I see why they need bodyguards.
No wonder you guys need bodyguards.
That's me.
You guys are real rock stars. Listen to me. First of all, let's discuss this as rational people.
Look at what do you mean you can't? Look at the lyrics. You guys are like little losers back there. You're not even on the show.
That's exactly right. Let's talk about your music.
Right.
Wait a second.
You didn't even play the song. You played the first verse.
Right.
And it was awesome.
Listen to me.
We made it through the first verse.
Where's your music? You're in your basement still. You haven't done anything.
You want to know something? It's better in my basement.
You haven't done anything. You're a loser.
Yeah, exactly.
You are not a musician.
That's why I'm here, and that's why you're struggling.
Wow, they're really fucking hitting him hard, and I don't blame them because Fred is an asshole. But like going after his music, he at that point he was trying to do something with King Norris, but at a way, he's that guy that he's making Fred's idea of making King Norris happen was having 1,000 popsicle sticks and saying, I'm going to put a popsicle stick together. I'm going to attach a new one every day until I have enough for the house. And in the end, it takes until 2008 before you see video footage of, of King Norris on Fuse, which we've already covered on the show. Super embarrassing. Is King Norris any better or worse than the Jesus Twins? I think it's far worse.
I would say far worse. Like he's got, I don't know, maybe he could have done studio stuff. I don't know. Like he doesn't have the it factor. He can play. No one's going to argue that.
Right.
But he wouldn't be the it guy that you would go to. If you needed someone in the background
playing rhythm.
Filling in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at this point, too, wasn't he acting as well, too? Like he was on Law and Order, I think, around this time.
Law and Order was later, probably around 8 years later. So he was doing whatever he could to make certain shekels happen. But he Stuttering John gets a record deal before Fred.
Yeah, and that really, really annoyed him. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think he ever admitted it, but yeah, I'm certain it did. A two record deal with Atlantic in the 90s?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That sounds right, yeah. And you know what? For all the jerkiness that Stuttering John could have at times, he did dig a bit, but he knew not to really rub it in Fred's face as much as he could have, because that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You're sound effects, man. You press a button. You press a button. How is that talent?
Fred opened for Ozzy. Who'd you open for?
Let's play a ding dong sound.
Why do you guys have to? Why is everyone attacking each other?
These guys are getting on my nerves.
Okay, all right. Here's
Continue the song.
I'm enjoying it.
The most obnoxious people we have.
I like these guys. I don't know. Am I crazy?
Continue the song.
Wait a second. Hold it now. Everyone just calm down. Hold on a second.
How long did it take you to write the song?
You guys listen to the show. You know that we don't just play a whole song.
Listen. Read the lyrics.
Let me see the lyrics. Let me see the lyrics. Hold on a second. Let me see that.
Who wrote it? You write together?
Yes.
Let me see what the lyrics are, because I'm having a hard time understanding it. You understand? First of all, you got to understand something. The album's already fresh.
Howard. If I were you and I heard this song,
you would stop the press.
I would delay the movie.
Really? You would delay the whole movie?
Delay the whole entire production.
Let me see these lyrics here.
You better like him in a fight with you.
That was the scariest thing I ever saw. You guys are getting up to fight.
What do you mean? Why not?
What's the matter with you? And you guys don't look like you can fight that. I mean, Robin can beat you guys up. Stop it. Indigenous to New York City, where the pigeons here all know my name. The incense is burning, patchouli on the street. I smell transvestites and bums. The aggregate so complete.
Stop the press.
Keep going.
All right.
I'm surprised he read all that well, to be honest with you.
He didn't understand most of the words, but he got it out.
No, he got them.
It's going to become clear in the next verse.
Up to the coast to D.C. and Philly. It's redolent of all the history here. Brotherly love, but I'm a misanthrope. I crack the Liberty Bell. Piss on the Washington Post.
Right.
Okay. So far, so good.
It's Howard's story.
Yeah. It's a perfect soundtrack for him. You're right, the credit sequence.
Yeah, and Ubiquity. I mean, Howard always said he's the everyman, everywhere, all the time, all at once.
Yes.
King of all media. Again, it's him.
Yep.
Read the next verse.
Don't try and stop me now. Ooh, have to knock you down. Yeah, don't try to stop me now. Ooh, have to knock you down.
Continue.
It's 3:02 a.m. in Los Angeles. I hear they legalized my favorite plant. In the city of plastic, sycophants in mass, they'll give an unctuous smile, then F you right in the ass.
Right.
God, unctuous. When's the last time you heard that word used, before or since, on the Howard Stern show? And of course, it didn't come from Howard. He had to read it. I mean, it's not, and it's, you don't have to rhyme to make songs. A lot of bands have proven this. And like, there's no, it doesn't have to be iambic pentameter or anything, but it's the music is definitely like, I think you could have played it at a club, mixed it in the middle of some other people dancing to whatever they're dancing to that's mainstream, like the Shaman or, back in the day, like acid house shit. And it wouldn't have gone, like, no one would have stopped. Like, it wasn't like as if the dance floor would go, what's this shit? I don't recognize it. Yeah. They would have continued.
Yeah.
I think.
Wow.
Go on.
You know, Howard, the amazing thing is the lyrics just flow.
Oh, what a douchebag! The lyrics just flow. Now they're flowing. Because this douchebag doesn't understand the English language. He doesn't.
Because ubiquitous is a word you hear in a lot of rock songs.
Right, we're innovative.
Well, what? So it does. So you don't hear it often. So it's shit.
What was his point with that?
I don't understand. Like what? Like if we don't all say, understood and rhymes with good, all of a sudden it's a shit song.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it.
We're innovators to the music industry, you douche.
No, they're real jackoffs. I mean, out of all the people we've had up here, for an unsigned band to have that kind of attitude is the surest way not to be signed.
I like them already. If Stuttering John hates them, I like them.
So far, they haven't mentioned me, but that's superfluous. I strongly believe that the American people, once they have a chance to listen to the music, will by all means learn that this is what's going to lead to the 21st century.
Let me hear a little more of this song, all right? All right. It's the first time we ever played a song on the air, and the two artists got up and tried to beat up Fred. And Crackhead Bob had to step in.
That's it.
Boy, Crackhead, you know how to fight. He
Crackhead was holding him.
He grabbed one of the Jesus brothers.
His arm is a club, Howard.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yes, it's really used as a club.
What did you do? You grabbed the Jesus brother by the coat. Right. Well, this guy can fight.
That's a fighting technique. Yeah, it's amazing. How did you know how to do that? For fuck's sake. Jesus. So the by the way, the manager is also a perfect compliment because he's so not them. Like he's so droll, like corporate. Looks like middle management going. Guys, that's enough. Trying to diffuse the situation. He's the guy that gets between you and the promoter and says, "Look, the deal's not what it should be. Let's make these numbers match." We've counted the tickets. We know the gate. Fuck. I love it.
Like if Eeyore had a slower brother. Would be.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
You got nothing to live for.
He'll beat you with one arm.
Enough with the crap. Let's get to the song.
You heard him. You won't know.
All right. Let me hear a little more of the song, and then I'm going to ask you guys to leave, and I'll decide what I'm going to do with this song. All right? Is that fair?
Is it possible
Yeah.
that you could like the song and want somebody else to perform it?
I'll get out here perform it. Best singers in Los Angeles. What the hell does that mean?
I just asked a question.
What are you saying? If I like the song, maybe have somebody...
Maybe you could take them as songwriters.
Songwriters. What the hell is he talking about?
I was just
We're the best
wondering.
entertainers, not the
I was
biggest.
just wondering.
Right.
Howard.
Go ahead, yeah.
I just wish you could see the video.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
We could see the video.
Yeah? Put the video in. I got to see that.
He's so stupid.
I wish you could see the video.
This is the clincher right here.
Yeah.
This is what's going to clinch us on the soundtrack. So stupid. He's doing us the biggest favor. He's like retarded. He's like so.
It's like insults in stereo. They really do have like a good flow of like the way their attitude is, and they are twins. Okay, fine, but no, I've met a bunch of twins that have nothing to do with each other. Like literally have no, they're different, they're identical, but they don't sound like each other. These guys sound like carbon copies.
Yeah, and their brains work the same. Their timing is the same. Everything.
The speed, everything is the same. Yeah.
So far, he got us all the way up here. He doesn't even realize it.
Right.
And a brain in his head. It's like the guy downstairs. I go, "Hey, Bozo, are you coming on the air?" He's like, "Hey, Bozo will get you real far."
Right. Well, you can't insult. Oh, there you are. Oh, I see you dancing. Look at this. Wait a second.
Can I see this?
Well, maybe they can put that up on the big screen.
Yeah, put it on the big screen.
And what are you guys, in cornrows?
No, tuxedos.
Wow.
See, we're so confident we shot a whole video.
Right. Now, who paid for the video? Did you guys pay for it yourself?
Our manager.
Your manager. He believes in you.
Yes. The video's ready for MTV.
Right. In other words,
all it is your excerpts. Put the excerpts in.
Move film clips.
Right.
Yes.
And now you got the biggest thing in the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got to say, you guys are handsome. I'll tell you that.
We're not going for hands up with you.
No?
Yeah, this, again, you have to go back, guys. You have to go back to 97. It completely fits in the not Sum 41, but like Lou Bega, all the bullshit swing that was going on at the time, like the revival, things were getting poppier again a little bit, even between the rock rap bullshit, the new metal crap. It has a place. It definitely would have fit. Musically, I think what I'm amazed with is actually the production. It doesn't sound like a low budget recording.
No, it doesn't sound like low budget. They did there's questionable funding, I think, for the stuff they're doing, and that's coming from their dad's corruption.
Yeah, no kidding.
Zero doubt about that.
Yeah.
But it's well produced. They've got the video. These guys are being backed.
Okay, is it worse or better than Sal's G-Man music? Did you ever listen to Stuttering John's CDs or at the time back in the day? No. And it wouldn't have been something to sell in Canada, by the way, guys, because the show had no presence in Canada even after he had a year at Chum around the time of Private Parts. I think he lasted in Toronto, a year, or it was Montreal. He lasted not even 4 months, and they took him off the air.
Because he wasn't allowed, and then they changed a rule or let him sneak in somehow.
Right.
But then the ratings just weren't there. No one cared.
No, and there's somebody from Toronto messaged me ages ago. I think I read it in the email, and they basically said he had no foothold. There was just not going to be, there was no real market for him in Canada anywhere. And someone said, well, because they don't have a sense of humor. No. Trust me, there's loads. You know how many of your how many comedians go to Hollywood, become big, that are from Canada? That's not the case. It's more along the lines of, it doesn't fit in any, at the Stern Show never fit in any morning show market anywhere in the country.
No, and things like his prank calls and stuff like that. There were disc jockeys in Toronto and other places who were doing prank calls that ended up on albums that we sold tons of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were well ahead of what Howard was doing. Yep. And it was humorous and it was good stuff. And they would incorporate themselves with bands. And so they'd be like a bonus hidden track on an album of a band or whatever. So, yeah, he pops up and everyone's like, oh, what's the big deal?
I think that was it. Yeah, people were nonplussed. It was like he was old hat, I think, at that point. And the shock factor only got you so far. Certainly in Canada, there's less shocking things. There's people are less shocked than you might believe up north. So at what they see, because God, I mean, if you can watch Just Like Mom, the compilation of that creepy dude. Yeah. I think we're already creeped out, but before Howard.
We drink milk out of bags. We're good.
Yeah, that was that was funny. I forgot when we were kids. That's exactly how it would get there. We had that. They had that stupid container that was only for that bag. It couldn't be served. The plastic with a handle. Yeah.
And then the cutter. There was the cutter that was on a magnet that was on the fridge, and you'd cut the bag of milk and
a little hole on one side and then one on the other. Yeah. Unbelievable.
You're a good-looking guy.
Well, how's the dancing and how's the...
Can you guys throw this up on the big screen? I guess they can't.
Why not?
I don't know. Baba Booey, can you make that happen?
Like he's going to say yes? Yeah, he's going to want to help us.
Yeah, he wouldn't know how to do it. You're right about that.
He's going to purposely mess up.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you something. I must tell you that it would be impossible to include you on this soundtrack.
That's not true.
What is that, Gary?
Or any soundtrack. It'd be crazy to put him on any soundtrack.
Look at you, you little sucker.
I would rather hear Emily singing.
Who cares what you would rather hear? They don't care. Who cares what Baba Booey wants to hear on a soundtrack?
Let me go.
Don't care. He's gonna smelly up my microphone.
Please call me again and try to get in ever again.
You don't need to speak. I'm going right to Howard, you loser. I'm done with this.
Okay, first of all, what I absolutely love about that aspect right there is, so Gary, again, trying to throw his weight around. This is more along the lines of what Carey was talking about when he said, I never liked Gary. This is the attitude that he showed way more often later on.
Mm-hmm.
And early on, if someone pissed him off, he could get like this. But generally, guests weren't this antagonistic towards the principals.
Yeah. But as a producer, too, and I deal with this with students. I don't take it personal, the stuff they do.
Yeah.
And I don't actually, I'm there as a gatekeeper in a way. And Gary is producer of the show. He could not like these guys, but he should be able to recognize that was good radio.
Yeah, or at the very least, and now they got good TV. They want people to mix it up. I mean, what's better, the Gary Busey tackling Howard to the ground, or some nameless bimbo from Playboy wanting to take her clothes off? Yeah.
Well, Ronnie, drools over her. Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Let me just make sure this is, because it's a 40-minute video, but they might have doubled it up. I think that's might have been why it's so long. Hold on.
You almost got in a fist fight with Fred and Crackhead Bob, right?
I think it's time to bring in the manager.
No, yeah, okay, so there is the second part. Yeah, okay, so the last 20 minutes are the manager, so we can cut that the next time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll do that the next time, because the manager brings in a whole different dynamic, and I don't want to give away anything about this, but I think the manager, is there some connection to the dad? Did he work in the same industry as the dad?
I don't believe so, but it's not to say that. Okay, it says here, Corman, I came across the details of a real estate issue when the twins were 18. They were represented by bankruptcy lawyer Alan Mendelsohn.
Yeah.
He was a big shot who worked on the Acclaim Entertainment, former video game publisher, Bankruptcy. I couldn't confirm whether he was related to Jonathan or if it was just a coincidence, so I left it out. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I'm not sure what his thing is, actually. As always, we try to give the guests, co-hosts, the first dibs at a dedication unless they can't think of something, and which you do afterwards. But have you got a song in mind for the dedication on this outro?
So I've got two that we can pull from. One is Age of Electric, the Canadian band with Aphrodisiac Smile, which shows when these guys started in music, their sound was kind of the sound that was out at that time, or the Four Horsemen, Nobody Said It Was Easy, which ties into Rick Rubin and all this other stuff as well.
Which would you prefer?
I like them both. People may not have heard Age of Electric, and Aphrodisiac Smile was actually quite popular outside of Canada for a bit, but they may not have heard it. So
okay, let's go with that one. Let's go with something they're more likely not to have heard, because we're trying to we're doing a little, sometimes we go esoteric on you guys, and sometimes we go mainstream. It all depends on what's floating our boat that day. But thank you so much, and thank you for the dedication, and guys, we hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.
Johnny was going to call in with the
later, man. Good, thanks for calling.
All right, Eric.
Announcement.
Take care,
today,
buddy.
He sprained his ankle.
Yeah, we'll see you.
All right, hey, Eric, I got to run a little.
Take care, buddy.
All right, thanks, Eric.
Oh, wait.
Go fuck yourself.
Anyone looking to go to any concerts this summer?
No.
Check out. Get pre-sales.
No one wants to go. We'll see you, buddy.
Red Rock.
Bye.
Hank, you're on the air.
Hey now, Howard. Howard.